UFC 235, holy shit. It's 2:30 in the morning, I'm exhausted, but this was a very good pay-per-view. I haven't done one of these in a while because I haven't bought a pay-per-view in a while because there hasn't been a card like this in a while. There was some long-ass decisions and some really shocking quick things happening. We're going to skip over most of the undercard and try to hammer this out as much as possible because the final 3 fights on the card were pretty insane and went on for a pretty fucking long time, so this might be a pretty fucking long video. So let's try to keep spirits up, energy up, and start with, first of all, Johnny Walker. Holy shit. Coming in ranked 15th, off of the Contender Series, just a couple of fights, but this is a guy who knocked out his first 2 opponents in under 2 minutes. He's coming up against Misha fucking Cirkunov, one of the biggest, meanest fucking goddamn light heavyweights there is. Johnny Walker, one of the tallest, longest light heavyweights there is. He's billed at 6'6". Jones is billed at 6'4". I don't know how, because was supposedly the same height as Anthony Lionheart Smith, who's 6'4", and he's 2 inches taller. So I think Johnny Walker and John Jones are about the same size. Anyway, Johnny Walker hits a flying knee out of fucking nowhere on Misha Cirkunov and murks his fucking ass in under a minute. Holy shit. I want to see Johnny Walker versus OSP next. The only other shit I really want to cover on the undercard is Jeremy Stephens fighting that up-and-comer that everybody's excited about. Mixed Molly Wapari just recently put out a video on Zabit Magomed Sharipov in the badass training camp he comes from in Dagestan. They fought a pretty close fight. Zabit was incredibly fast, lightning quick, and he hit some of that video gamey shit on Jeremy Stephens. Didn't land any of it flush, but he did do a 360 tornado kick, and he did try to pull a fucking Anthony Showtime Pettis kick. He tried a Showtime kick off the cage. This went to the decision. I think it was really close. I believe Jeremy Stephens won the 3rd round, but Zabit's going to get this one 29-28. Cody Garbrandt versus Pedro Munoz for the final feature prelim. And Cody Garbrandt made the same exact mistakes that let TJ Dillashaw beat him twice. Cody Garbrandt has not evolved as a fighter. He's still brave. He's still wicked fast, very powerful. But when he throws the left, the right hand comes down. And when the right hand comes forward, so does his fucking chin. And Munoz hurt Garbrandt early. And then Garbrandt fucking walloped Munoz with the right hand. And then they just started fighting in a phone book for what is probably the fight of the night. And he had Munoz bleeding and hurt, but Munoz wasn't as hurt as he looked at first. And as they got swinging, Cody Garbrandt's arms got out further away from his chin, and his chin got more and more exposed, and he caught the same fucking right hand, and he crumpled face first the same exact way and got TKO'd the same exact way. That's 3 knockout losses in a row by making the same mistakes. Cody Garbrandt, tisk tisk, you are so talented, but you are so irresponsible with your defense. Far too brazen. He's got a killer instinct to a fault, ladies and gentlemen. So, next up we got, or was it Jeremy Stephens versus Zabit that was the feature prelim? God, I'm so tired. Either way, I wanted to cover both those fights, and let's just say that Cody Garbrandt got fucking greased. Next up on the pay-per-view, we have Zhang Weili, or Weili Zhang, depending on how you which name you put first. Facing a female fighter I actually know and like, one of the UFC's premier dyke badasses, Tecia Tiny Tornado Torres. She had slick boxing and appeared to be the smarter fighter, but the Chinese fighter, Weili Zhang, huge motherfucking strawweight out there. This gorgeous Chinese lady looked like a featherweight. And Tecia is a huge strawweight, which makes Zhang here a titanic strawweight. And even though I think Tecia was kind of the better fighter, Weili was much stronger, won all the grappling exchanges, and finished out with a pretty good ground and pound. But now we're getting to the 3 big fights that are going to dominate this video. And holy shit, what drama. Casuals beware, we're getting into it. The debut of Ben Funky Askren, the folk-style wrestling badass, former ONE FC and Elite XC champion. What a monster. He's got that Chael Sonnen farmer bod looking to rip your head off. And depending on who you ask, he kind of did in this fight. But he's facing former welterweight champion, ruthless striker, total badass, Robbie Lawler. Now, Ben Askren was favored as a minus 280 favorite. That means he's almost 3-1 favorite over more than 2-1 underdog, Robbie Lawler, which kind of surprised me. And that wasn't all the surprises. This one ended fast. It ended very controversially. Herb Dean is supposed to be the senior referee in this organization. I don't think he's that good. I miss Dan Miragliotta. I really miss Big John McCarthy a lot, even though the last time I saw Big John McCarthy on pay-per-view, he pissed me right the fuck off and nearly cost Daniel Cormier his fucking life. But Lawler came into this fight looking mean, looking like his old self, looking very aggressive, and he was shredded. Robbie Lawler might have been in the best shape of the last 5 years, and he showed it. So Ben Askren weathers some early punches and tries to come in for the body lock, just rushing clinch, just doesn't give a fuck. I will let you punch me in the face. I'm going to grab you. And as he grabs Lawler kind of drops to one knee, and he tries to cinch his right arm over Lawler's left arm from the back, maybe looking for the neck crank to put Lawler's head here and crank his head in. And as he does, Lawler stands up and picks Ben Askren up and basically gives him the attitude adjustment, WWE style, fucking drops him on his head, Brock Lesnar F5s his ass, and slams the shit out of Ben Askren. The crowd, goes fucking ape shit. Ben Askren doesn't know where he is for a second, and then he knows even less where he is, as Lawler's just wham, wham, fucking wham, dude, just starts pounding the shit out of him. And Lawler's going, Askren's going, oh God, let me pull guard. And Robbie Lawler says, let me elbow you in the fucking eyeballs repeatedly. And Ben Askren's going, oh dear God. But he keeps his body locked, and he starts to try to get the back, and they get back up somewhat to the feet. And Askren manages to back off, and Askren's right eye is like swollen shut, and his left eye is raining blood. He's fucked up. He's fucked up bad. He's cut in multiple places. He's hurt. He doesn't know where he is. And Lawler starts stalking in, and they get up against the cage, and they're grappling again, and at some point, Lawler shoots for another takedown, and this was a mistake. And again, video game shit, you don't see this in the UFC that often. Lawler takes his back, and Askren just cinches his head, and just like Lawler's his little brother, and they're play fighting, gets him in the fucking rear headlock, the fucking goddamn bulldog choke, and starts getting him down and squeezing, and Lawler's grabbing at his arm, trying to fight the grip, and then something very interesting happens. Both the commentators, Dominic Cruz and Joe Rogan, and we all say the same thing at the same time. Lawler's out, because Lawler's arm goes from over top of Askren's arm like this to down on the ground. Herb Dean moves in and shakes his hand and says, Lawler, you all right? Lawler, you're all right. And Ben Askren is just squeezing. And if you've ever seen any of some of these promotional videos of Ben Askren squeezing in this exact position, he literally can crush watermelons into dust with that grip. And Lawler is limp. So Herb Dean calls the fight. Holy shit, a shocking come from behind victory. Because I thought, in just 30 seconds before, that Lawler was going to beat Askren to fucking death with ground and pound. And Askren has just put Lawler out, right? With the bulldog choke, with the sheer brute force. And as soon as Askren lets go and stands up, Lawler pops immediately to his feet. He's fine. Whole crowd just gasps to the point where the roof almost gets sucked in from the fucking instant vacuum. And they're going, and Joe Rogan's second guessing himself. He went from screaming Lawler's out to that's a bad stoppage, retardation abounds. But Ben Askren remains undefeated, wins his opener in controversial fashion in an exciting fight against Robbie Lawler. I like Ben Askren a lot. I've been following him, looking back on his career in anticipation of him coming to the UFC. And I like me a mean son of a bitch grappler like that. And Ben Askren is one hell of a troll. His post-fight interview, he's a little bit trolly. I think he's kind of hilarious. I really like him. We move on to the co-main event. Let me get through my notes here. This is going to be a long one, folks. One long, shocking situation. The word on the street, on the online circles I follow, is Tyron Woodley is going to kill Kamaru Usman. And that Kamaru Usman better give a little bit more than 70% or 30% or whatever the fuck percent if he expects to beat Tyron Woodley. I'm a Tyron Woodley hater. I hate his attitude. I hate his personality. I hate his trash talk. I hate his race baiting. But I can't deny that I wanted Wonder Boy to beat him, and he beat Wonder Boy's ass. I thought Damian Maia might be his kryptonite. He beat the ever-loving fuckballs out of Damian Maia. Now, Darren Till, I think, is extremely overhyped, and I did not think Darren Till could beat Tyron Woodley, even though everyone called Darren Till his greatest threat yet. He fucking embarrassed Darren Till. So it's another one of those cases of whether you like Tyron Woodley or you hate him, you must respect him. He's a fucking monster. And he's facing Kamaru Usman, who also beat the fucking balls off of Damian Maia. Beat the fucking balls out of everyone he's fought, but he's only fought a couple of real top 5 killers. So how does he do against Tyron Woodley? Well, in round 1, after a couple exchanges of punches, Woodley does land a couple overhand rights, but they don't really land flush. Kamaru's using his big shoulders to kind of get out of the way of that shit. As he closes in, they get up against the cage, and Tyron, ballsy motherfucker he is, tries a flying guillotine. It does not work. Kamaru knees the shit out of his chest, does a lot of body work. Tyron does get back up, but he just gets clinched the fuck out of. Usman wins round 1. Round 2, pretty early on, Usman advances, ignores the couple of punches Woodley throws, slams him up against the cage, and in the body lock lands a big lead elbow, left elbow, and gets Tyron in the eye and starts that eye bleeding. Then he slams the fucking shit out of Tyron about a minute and a half in from the body lock takedown and just gets into mount and starts elbowing the shit out of him. With about 30 seconds left, he almost secures an arm triangle, a head and arm choke on Tyron Woodley, but then the buzzer rings. He didn't really have it anyways, but that is a 10-8 round on my book for Kamaru Usman. There was virtually no offense from one of the most dominant welterweights of all time, and Kamaru beat his ass. Round 3, I have no notes for Tyron Woodley. And for Kamaru Usman, clinch up against the cage, and he proceeds to body punch the shit out of Tyron Woodley. By a minute and a half in round 3, more than halfway through this fight, Kamaru Usman has landed 105 body shots. Just clinch, shoulder to Tyron's face, and just body shot, body shot, body shot, body shot, and body shot. Over and over and over and over and over. Holy shit. 10-9 Kamaru Usman. That's 3 rounds in the book. Tyron needs a finish. Let's see. I got round 4. Tyron's corner tells him, stop backing up, advance. What's the first thing Tyron does when faced with Kamaru Usman's pressure? He backs up. About 30 seconds in, he's already up against the cage. He tries another flying guillotine. This one goes less good than the last one. It's just crazy grinding top pressure from the half guard for Kamaru Usman. Referee Mark Goddard is a shit ref, I have here in my notes, because for about the 3rd time in this fight, Whether it's in the clinch or Kamaru Usman from half guard just grinding the shit out of Tyron Woodley, out of nowhere, Mark Goddard stands it up because Mark Goddard fucking sucks and doesn't respect grappling. Immediately, Tyron is returned to the clinch, shoved up against the cage, and he lands an uppercut or two, but then so does Kamaru Usman, and Kamaru Usman's uppercuts are harder. I forgot to mention that Kamaru Usman looked shredded as fuck, and even though he weighed in at 169 to Tyron Woodley's 170, Kamaru Usman looked like the slightly larger man, and he definitely was the man with the better cardio, and he was quite possibly, appeared to be so, the stronger man by quite a bit. And there were some mean knees in the clinch. And right around the end of round 4, they actually get to the point where Kamaru backs off and says, I'm going to try to finish him. And they start winging at each other. And Kamaru is landing uppercuts, landing winging, just fucking haymakers. It got a little bit gritty there towards the end, but Tyron didn't land much, and Kamaru landed even more, besides all of the grueling George St. Pierre reminiscent ground and pound beat down fucking shit. I scored that round 10-8 Kamaru Usman. The judges didn't, but I did. Round 5, Woodley attempts a third flying guillotine. It doesn't work. Usman scores the takedown within a minute and a half and grinds the fucking shit out of Woodley. And I scored this one a 10-8 as well. My final score, 50-42. The official score was 50-44. In a one-sided, supreme ass beating, Kamaru Usman is your new welterweight champion. He embarrassed, mauled, he fucking Nurmagomedov / fucking Randy Couture / motherfucking. He just beat, GSP, he beat the fucking balls off of Tyron Woodley. Everyone said, does 70% Kamaru Usman have a chance against Tyron Woodley? The question you should be asking is, did Tyron ever have a chance against Kamaru Usman? A shocking performance, as Joe Rogan and I both say. But if you thought that ass beating was savage, John Bones Jones, aged 31. I really think John Jones is a steroid cheat. I've been following John Jones's career since he beat the fucking nuts, just since he ruined the life of Mauricio Shogun Rua at the age of just 23. He beat the shit out of Shogun so fucking bad that Shogun tapped his strikes, ladies and gentlemen. And he killed everybody who ever even tried to touch him before that and since. But I think he's a steroid cheat. I really think he's being protected by the athletic commissions and by the UFC and even USADA. He's been popped, 5 times now for steroids? 2 of them officially held up as sanctions. He's been a cocaine addict and a hit and run dude and a partier, and even though he thanks God all the times, he's one of the most impious, unjust, unrighteous men ever to be in the UFC. But he is the best, whether he does steroids or not. But no matter what anybody says, the fact that he's had such ridiculously low testosterone scores while also getting popped for steroid cycles, the man is a cheat. His record is forever tarnished, and I'm sick of us trying to pretend that it isn't. All that out of the way, John Jones was a -900 favorite in this fight. That is a 9-1 favorite. You would be very ballsy to bet on a 6-1 underdog in Anthony Lionheart Smith. But I sincerely thought that Smith had a puncher's chance. And Smith is durable enough. He's gone 5 rounds before. Any given round, any given minute that this fight was still on the feet, Smith had a chance. Or so I thought. Round one, Jones opening up in switch stance. He is going southpaw on this and throwing a fuckload of lightning fast bantamweight speed. Left kicks, teeps to the body, stomps to the knee, high kicks to the head that almost landed multiple times. But the only head kick that landed, although glancing, in the round was Lionheart. He managed to kick Jones in the head. Jones catches his leg and chucks his ass up against the cage and holds him there. Vicious upward shoulder strikes. Just John Jones rocket launching himself up 7 feet in the air, trying to take Smith's head off with these shoulder strikes. Not a whole lot of damage or any risk of knockout, but definitely abusive and painful. Jones takes round one. Round two, Smith gets a chance to land some blows. They trade some hands. Jones repeatedly switching stances, usually stifling Anthony T-Rex Smith, a man who has a 75-inch reach despite being 6'4". 75 is a pretty good reach if you are 6 foot even or 6'1", but if you're 6'4", you should be packing about 78, 79 inches. John Jones had a nearly 10-inch reach advantage over Lionheart Smith, and it really showed. He could not get in for anything. But he did landed some. He landed a few right hands, but Jones kicked the fucking shit out of his leg. Teep kicks to the body all day. Jones wins round two. Round three, Jones begins in orthodox. Smith already looks very hurt. He's taken a fuckload of vicious spinning back kicks to the body, and he took a spinning elbow that almost hit him in the chin in the cage shit from the previous round. So he looks hurt, he looks tired, he looks nervous. But though he may have been all those three, you could not accurately say that Smith was scared. You'll find out why as more drama comes up ahead. And apologize for my throat. Okay. Round three, straight back to the cage. Around 2 minutes left to go. Jones lands a big slam. We're talking spine buster level. Gets him up over the shoulder, slams his ass down. Grinding ground and pound. Round three to Jones. Round four, Jones lands like his fourth or fifth spinning back kick. The body damage is for real against Lionheart. Tons of pressure. And once he gets him up against the cage, he starts landing some fucking elbows. And Smith eats them like a man. However, at about 3:36 left to go in round four, about a minute and a half in, Jones lands a flying knee that would kill lesser mortals. And he breaks Lionheart's nose, or at least really badly damages it. And Lionheart is gushing blood. Immediately after Jones lands the takedown, I got here in my notes, ass beating ground and pound. Knees the fuck out of Smith's ribs over and over and over and over. Vicious GSP style knees to the body, beating the fucking shit out of him. Smith continues to fight back, and at some point, Jones lands like an illegal stomp to the head almost. But after Smith gets back up, only to get slammed again, as he's down on one knee. So he's got both knees down, butt down, and hand down, and starts trying to get up, and Jones grabs his head against the cage and wham! Knees him right in the face in the most illegal knee you've ever seen in your life. And Herb Dean stops the time. Anyway, calls the replay up. It is illegal under any rules but Pride rules. It doesn't even matter if this was the new ABC Unified rules, which it isn't in the state of Nevada for no fucking particular reason. Jesus Christ, you're the fight capital of the world. Get your fucking shit together in Nevada and adopt the new unified rules of MMA for the fucking love of God. Smith got plastered, but he's still conscious, and holy shit, the new super illegal referee Herb Dean is really pissed off. And Herb Dean redeems himself a little bit. After they review the replay, he asks, still standing, still alive, somehow, Anthony Smith, would you like to continue? Are you okay? Smith says, I'm fine, we can go. In an unprecedented move to, again, Jon Jones, a cheater, an unrepentant eye poker, who uses moves that some fighters consider dirty, but they're legal, so who gives a fuck. A steroid cheat, and a guy who his only loss on his record is due to illegal strikes, just landed another illegal strike where he should have been disqualified. I have not looked up the rules, whether or not someone can actually win a championship on a disqualification win, but one thing's for sure, if Anthony Smith said, I cannot continue, that would be the second loss on Jon Jones's record. That would have been a flagrant disqualification. But since Smith says, I would like to continue, because he's a fucking retard as well as a Terminator, Herb Dean grabs Jon Jones's left hand and holds up 2 fingers. Herb Dean deducts 2 points for flagrant, damaging, illegal strike. But that was right at the buzzer of the end of round 4. Round 5. Jon Jones starts off extremely aggressive, intending to finish Anthony Smith just in case. Because losing 2 points is a big deal. Anthony fires back and actually makes Jon Jones hesitate with some heavy right hands. But Jon Jones has a chin, just like Smith does. And Jon Jones has been beating the fucking bricks off of Anthony Smith for 4 rounds, and Anthony Smith has done almost nothing to Jon Jones in return. Jon Jones gets him up against the cage, elbows the fucking shit out of Smith repeatedly with the kind of Johnny Walker killer close-range jaw-popping elbows, the whaps, 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 that should have finished him. But it doesn't work out that way. The final score, 48-44, and still Jon Jones. Jon Jones, again, apparently, according to his post-fight interview, thanks God, through God all things are possible, he says, including getting away with a hit and run that injures and breaks the arm of a pregnant woman, gets away with cocaine abuse, gets away with getting caught drag racing, by police, gets away with being a fucking douchebag, gets away with being a steroid cheat. Again, he tested positive before this fight. Again, gets away with a legal knee. Again, but thanks his team. Graciously thanks Smith for a good fight, calls him super tough, says my strikes weren't effective against him. I think that's because Anthony Smith's skull is made out of titanium or perhaps adamantium. And says he didn't put on his best performance, but he did not express any interest in going to heavyweight. Thinks there's a lot of great up-and-comers. I would sure love to see Johnny Walker kill him, but I don't know if he could beat Johnny Walker could beat him at this point, but Johnny Walker is now in the top 15 and just beat number 14. And the 2 killers that look like they could actually hold a candle to Jon Jones that are left in the division would be Thiago Santos, who has a win over Anthony Lionheart Smith at middleweight and has won his last 4 fights by knockout. At least. It might be more than that. And then Johnny Walker and everybody else doesn't look... Patrick Cummins, Misha Serkinov. Fucking who else is in the division now? No, nobody else is going to hurt Jon Jones. And Smith definitely was thrown to the lions, pun intended, with this fight. But, dear God, I've been talking for 30 minutes. My throat is killing me. It's 3 o'clock in the morning, folks. I gotta go. For those of you who watch my UFC content, thanks for sticking around. This was a good pay-per-view. Not the best. I bought it more or less since I don't give a shit about Tyron Woodley, and I am kind of a Jon Jones hater now because he's a cheat. And I didn't believe Smith could beat him either. I bought this pretty much to see the Askren debut, and for as short as it was spectacular. The Cody Garbrandt, Pedro Munoz fight was great. Really, the undercard was better than the pay-per-view overall, but I enjoyed it. Thanks for watching, everybody.